Good day, my friends. It's Pastor Justo. I have a question that I'd like you to reflect upon, and then we'll come back to it in a few minutes. So when does 3 plus 2 minus 6 equal 4? Put on your thinking caps. I'm expecting a positive response like we got last Sunday in church to the question, who said, all I know is I know nothing. And after a few seconds, the response became Sergeant Schultz from Hogan's Heroes. That wasn't quite the answer that I was looking for, but it certainly brought a chuckle to all of us, and we should learn how to laugh in church. So, thank you for that. I also want to acknowledge the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that they did give the Buffalo Bills a little run there. And quite frankly, as an avid Bills fan, I saw the tide changing before our horrible first-round draft choice from 2 years ago, Kair Aliam, got an interception in the end zone. Quite frankly, that was a miracle because that really was and is a really bad first-round draft choice for 2021. So, getting back to when does 3 plus 2 minus 6 equal 4? The answer, quite frankly, is whenever you decide that it does. Because logically, 3 plus 2 is 5, minus 6 is -1, but if we have determined within ourselves that the answer is 4, it is irrelevant to the explanations and the math work, since we've already convinced ourselves that 3 plus 2 minus 6 equals 4. So why do I share this? Well, I'd like to try to bring a little bit of clarification. Several months ago, I was accused of not caring for one of our people because I did not mention it on Sunday morning to pray for them, in spite of the fact that somebody brought it to my attention. Their assumption, their 3 plus 2 minus 6 equals 4, was that I didn't care. So let me give you a little bit of background information in terms of how I deal with things. First and foremost, I absolutely knew that our congregant was suffering and was having some issues and was hospitalized for those. Pastors know these things, especially when individuals call us and let us know, or their family does. So during my visit with that individual, they decided that they did not want the church to know any information about their situation. As the pastor, I honored that, and I said what I will usually say is, no one will know anything from my lips unless you share it with them. And when I got to church on that Sunday morning, a particular person pulled me aside and wanted me to know and gave me details of the person's situation, in spite of the fact that the person did not want information to be shared. So I heard it. I did not acknowledge it. I did not speak to it. I simply listened. And they are correct. I did not bring it up that Sunday in church, primarily and exclusively because the individual did not want personal information shared. Indeed, it was the rumor of this individual that I didn't care, that I was not a good pastor because I didn't mention it. But actually, I'm a very good pastor. Have my flaws, but I know my boundaries. And the fact that an individual knew something which was highly confidential raised a lot of red flags for me. For example, how do they know? And did somebody, meaning either the family or the individual, say something to them? And if they knew, how many other people knew personal, private, confidential information? I was not going to bring it up at church. One, because I was asked to keep the information confidential. And two, because it was and is no one's business but the owner of that information, who was the individual. So, I was told how horrible I am. I was told how I didn't care. And I've never publicly responded. I did offer to meet with the individual, and I did share with them there was a whole lot of assumptions being made without knowing facts. They chose not to meet. They chose not to respond to Lisa or me in an invitation to sit. So when does 3 plus 2 minus 6 equal 4? Whenever you decide that you have facts that you've created, that you have information which quite frankly is confidential and none of your business. So to that individual, I say you're right. I did not, and I will not, share a name of the individual, share the situation, because it wasn't mine to share. So next time that you assume how horrible I am and how I don't care, you simply might want to take a step back and recognize that you don't know what you don't know, and cut the pastor or the individual a break. Have I been in touch with this individual over the months? Absolutely. Have I responded to their needs? Absolutely. Do you know about it? No, and you won't, because it's irrelevant. I need to respond to individuals, not to individuals who think they know information and, quite frankly, are sharing what isn't theirs to share. So I love you. I care for you. But I pray that as you call a new pastor, you'll cut them a break. You won't make assumptions about them or how they care or who they are or how good or bad they are based upon what you see without knowing the backstory or the reality of the situation, which is not yours to know. So as we call the individual, let's be graceful with them. Let's acknowledge that God has selected and chosen them to serve among us, and give them a break. God bless you. I hope this got to you, particularly to those that may think they knew or know the background of someone else's life. You don't. God love you. Have a great week.